processing guide. Now that we got a lot of new people come with seasons, and everyone always wonders, how does processing stack up and compare to bartering and some of your other life skill choices? Because it's probably one of the least talked about life skills probably we have in BDO. So we'll touch upon it in a few areas, what kind of silver per day you're looking at, who should get into it, and what do you need to kind of process, and some min-maxing tips and suggestions I'll throw in there to kind of help you along the way, kind of make more money and manage it better. So in terms of our life skill hierarchy, I'll throw this maybe a slide of comparing some pros and cons. Processing now sits in the what I'll call the semi-AFK time. So like every 15, 20, 30 minutes, depending on your mastery and how fast you process. So the more mastery you have, the faster you're going to process items, and depending on your weight. So people, your other alternative really now is probably bartering. So, and maybe cooking a little bit, but not really, because cooking is probably more active. But so bartering, you could probably make more money in total bartering, but it requires, I would call it, more effort and more investment in your long-term time. Bartering, you're going to need to do sailing dailies and more sailing dailies and months of sailing dailies before you kind of finally convert your sailboat or frigate into a carrack. And a lot of people are probably underestimate the grind or get burned out by it in terms of the sea coin runs and the coin grind, etc. And also just managing your inventory in the different tier 5s is a little bit daunting for a new player, but not too bad. But you're and ultimately you end up looking at like 300 to 500 plus mil a day if you have a day to dedicate to bartering. Processing, on the other hand, it's got very, very low requirements. It's extremely chill. You don't now with the patch from we just got on console. You never have to leave your storage manager again. You can just take stuff off the marketplace. I'll show you now here. You can actually the warehouse, and then if you want to buy some timber to like ash timber to process, you can cruise through and just buy it. I'll buy like 5,000 or so, and then I think they'll fix the translation, and you can just swing it over to your warehouse, and it goes right through. So that whole process is just a million times simpler than it used to be before. So you can, in terms of processing, you're looking at like 100 to 150 mil silver a day, depending on if you're buying materials or getting them from workers, gathering, etc. Most people, in terms of getting into processing, it's pretty good because you can get most of it through your worker material. So this loop right here, I'll call it the beginner loop, with your caltheon and your coal and your tin nodes. These are going to be good, and the other reason why I like processing is you've got a floor on these because console we get min listed to death, so a lot of things once this probably hits like 16, 17,000, the traders will come along and buy it up, or I think ash is like 10,000 or so. So the traders will come along and buy it up and make a 20% profit just by buying out the market and doing that. So what that lets you do is, unlike fighting the cooking meal nonsense and min listing everything else on console, you always have like a stable sales point price that you can exit on with your silver. So if you're new and you're getting into processing, you kind of always have a sales price where you can make. So as long as you process, you can sell on your timber and your ores. Like another one is like steel. That's pretty easy with the iron and the coal. So like once this hits like 8,500, you can just, the traders will come along and you're always kind of guaranteed to get around 8,500 or 8,000 or so. So you see there, like that's like a trader probably putting in a pre-order so they can go and box it for like a 10-20% profit. So you don't have to fight the min-listers because the traders will kind of take care of that naturally, which is why I like the trading market for new players. In terms of what do you need to get started trading, you need some basic loggy gear, which is why it's beautiful. It requires very little investment. I would encourage you to get these to Tet because you can cron them, and we just got like hundreds and thousands of crons from My Little Ball, and these are green items. So and they adds 200 mastery. So I would encourage you to get that to Tet with the crons you're getting, and you can build fail stacks very easily with Tuvala. You're gonna want the log gear rings for the 2% life skill EXP, which is which is going to help you level up if you're new and you also need the mastery. In terms of if you want to take it a step further, you can use a Manos belt to give you extra weight, which will add maybe 20% to your processing, maybe depending on your weight level, in terms of how much you can process before you fill up. And you can see here, I only have a duo because it keeps failing try, and I gave up on it. But you can go for a try or a tet, armor if you want. I would stick with duo to try first, and then scale it up a bit. And you need one of these stones for each thing. So, you've got your lava for your heating, and the chopping and the shaking and the grinding, and this it's going to be for you're gonna want to focus on processing I'll call it the timber and selling them directly to the market if you're new, and then you can also at night, because it's lower weight, either if you're looking for EXPs, grind some flax and heat some flax stuff, or you can grind flours into dough and use these into cooking or sell them to the market as well. They're gonna last longer because they're low weight, which is going to help some people out on that end. So you can, if you're looking for EXP, maybe do some flax and stuff like that. But if you're looking for the silver, I would grind flour or shake some dough, and that'll be like an overnight thing because you don't want to process overnight on like something you're going to fill up in like 20 minutes. So in terms of what else to gather with workers and processors and some tips. So I would recommend getting a lot of the iron and copper nodes and the coal nodes, because those accumulate very fast. So you got some cheap iron nodes and copper nodes and some more copper. So if you don't have a lot of CP or you're running out of CP, I would ditch like some of the copper because you can buy it at the marketplace. And also, there's some cheap ash nodes and maple ones, so you can get them if you've got like this one's maple that I don't have anymore, and there's another maple one here. So if you're running out of CP, you can ditch those and just buy them off the market. But it's helpful if you're looking, to get started on that 100 mil silver a day. I would get workers on those first, and also get workers on your potato nodes and your wheat nodes, so you can have a resource to grind. So people always complain that it's like, hey, I run out of timber to chop. I don't have anything else to process. How do you keep doing that? So the thing is, when you run out on that, you move towards your ores, and when you run out of the ores, you can move towards your grains. So the workers are going to actually provide you more than you think, and then you can always supplement with the market. So like I like to use the ash because you can probably make 100 mil just chopping ash alone a day, if you do the ash and you run out of maple, you can just sell the ash, and this is kind of where you could take it a step further. So you can trade crate. So like if you say you've bought, you've got a lot of ash and maple, you can get into the trade crating and the Calcium timber crates, and that's going to take the 10-20% or more you're losing on the market, and that's going to let you if old wisdom and grana, you're going to be able to trade crate it, and then that's going to become your extra income. So the more mastery and the more trading you're gonna get into, if you go that route, but you don't have to. You can just keep selling in the market and be stress free. But once you get into trading, it's gonna keep boosting your silver over time because you're not gonna get hit with the market tax, and then every trade level, or every 2 trade levels, is gonna give you an extra 1% income. So there's kind of a natural progression when you kind of scale this up, and you get from just beginner processor where you're just selling to the market, and then you get into the trading, and that the money you're losing on the taxes, and you can start flipping over to your income, and also get higher price for it as well. So via the trade crate. So that's kind of the process I'd recommend too, and definitely make sure you get the grain nodes, because you at night you can process those, and then if you're processing for a few days and you run low on your new player and you run low, you can go to the potatoes and the wheats for like a little while until your timber stacks back up, and that's just kind of a tip. You're going to want to kind of get goblins on a lot of these on a lot of the timber nodes. So I think I have like giants in some of them, but it doesn't really. If you can get goblins if you want, or if you don't remember to feed your workers all the time, I would go with giants, which is kind of my thing, because I used to do a 9 to 5 before I was working from home, and I was able to remote in, but I wasn't really able to cook and keep grabbing beer and stuff like that. So I have a lot of giants and stuff. But that's basically it, guys. Take care. If you have any questions, let me know. Adios.